The other day I saw this really amazing animation on Twitter by Vivid Motion. As you can see, these credit cards are like going around and doing all sorts of crazy stuff. And I was like, okay, they did it in Blender or something, or After Effects, I'm not sure, but can we do it in Framer without writing a single line of code? So can we bring this to the web without like a spline embed or a video embed? Can we do it natively? And I tried it, and actually here you can see that this is a Framer website, and I have kind of like the same exact card animation, and it looks really cool. And in this video I want to show you how you can do this without writing a single line of code, basically just drawing rectangles on a design canvas like this. So yeah, my name is Nandi, this is Framer University, and let's get started. So here we are in Framer, and we already have this card component here. It's nothing special. If we go inside, you can see that it has this image here for the chip. We have some text and also this MasterCard logo here. So it's really nothing special. We have two variants, a darker and a lighter variant. So this is really super simple. By the way, you're going to find the remix link for this project in the description, so you can take a look at that. So yeah. Basically, all we have to do is we have to use 3D transforms in Framer to create this animation. So first of all, I'm gonna do something here. I'm gonna select the card and I'm gonna apply a 3D rotation. So it's gonna be 40 degrees on the Y axis. So it's gonna look kind of weird. It's because we don't have a perspective distortion just yet, but we're gonna add it later. So first now we just have this card. It has a 3D rotation of 40 degrees on the Y axis. Now what we do is we wrap this in another frame because I want to also add an X rotation. But if I add the X rotation now, it doesn't really do what I need. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this by pressing Command and Enter. So now as you can see, a frame is wrapping around this card. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that the card's size is the same as these frames. So I'm going to make sure that we have the same sizes. Okay, it looks pretty good now. So card wrapper will be the name of this frame. And this frame will get another rotation, 3D rotation, and it's going to be 4 degrees. It's not going to be anything big. It's going to be only 4 degrees. You might not even notice it, but I know it's there. So yeah, we're gonna here I just noticed that the card now looks completely different. So I'm gonna deactivate all these pins and make sure that we have the 180 and 120 size. So 180 and 120 size. So now it looks pretty great. If I add a perspective distortion now here to this card wrapper and also preserve 3D to make sure that it's children, so the card is in the same 3D space, we can now see the perspective distortion and basically how this card looks in the 3D space. If you don't know what is preserved 3D or perspective, I have a full 30-minute free crash course here on YouTube that you can watch, and I'm gonna explain everything there super clearly, but I'm not gonna go into details in this video. So if you don't understand something here, just go and watch that video before watching this. So yeah, now we have this, but the reason why I'm not adding the perspective just yet on the card wrapper is because I know that I will have more wrappers around, for example, the card wrapper too, and the perspective needs to be on the main parent, because if these are stacked, so we have another wrapper here, wrapper, and we also have a perspective here, what you will notice is that this perspective values now being stacked, and we have a larger perspective value. So if we remove this from here, you see that now we have a smaller perspective value. So it's really important to have one perspective for the main parent. So card wrapper, as you see, we did another wrapper here. It's going to be a 180 in width, and the height will be 480. So it's going to be a bit bigger. Yeah, so now what we have is a wrapper here that wraps the card wrapper, which wraps the card. So as you can see, we have quite a few wrappers here. So wrapper, this is gonna be an arm. I'm gonna call this arm because I will use this to rotate these around like this. So this will be an arm, and what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna remove the perspective value from it. I'm gonna keep the preserve 3D. Card wrapper also has a preserve 3D, so it's really good. And yeah, basically that's it. Now all we have to do is we have to create multiple arms and just make sure that each one is rotated. So I'm gonna duplicate the arm and then select both and wrap them in a common frame by pressing Option, Command and Enter. Now these are in the same frame, so this is gonna be the main wrapper. And now, as you can see, this is the main wrapper, so this can have the perspective value, also preserve 3D, and yeah, it's gonna be all good now. So this is gonna be arm 1, this is gonna be arm 2, and to make sure that these are positioned right on top of each other, we're gonna make sure to set the arm 2 to upset positioning and center it with Option H and V. I'm gonna deactivate all these pins, we don't need those. And I will make sure that the main wrapper is set back to 180 width. So now what I can do is I can start rotating this around. Of course, we're going to have 12 wrappers to make a full circle. So what we have to do is we have to basically calculate how many degrees we should rotate each. It's going to be 30 degrees, as you can see. So arm 2 is rotated by 30 degrees. And I'm going to also make sure to change it to the lighter variant. So I'm going to have darker, lighter, darker, lighter. So now I'm just going to make sure to create all these arms. So arm 3, 60 degrees and darker. So here I'm just going to do all of these. I'm going to probably speed up this part of the video. Okay, so now we have the last arm as well. So we have all these arms here, and I think what we have to do now is we have to turn this into a component because we have all the cards, and if we want to, we can already apply a loop effect, for example, on this one. So main wrapper, we can apply a loop, and we can set the 3D, or not even a 3D, it's just gonna be a simple 2D rotation of 360. And let's say we're gonna have 10 for the transition length. Let's see how this looks. And yeah, as you can see, now we just have a simple rotation. And what we can do is we can combine this simple loop rotation with multiple different modifications. And the way we can do that is by turning this into a component. And we can create multiple variants within the component and apply those changes there. It's going to be pretty cool. You're going to see it, and it's really easy. So main wrapper, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make sure to wrap this main wrapper in another wrapper. I know it's quite a few wrappers, but we have to do that. And the reason for this is basically that this main wrapper has 3D transforms, perspective and preserve 3D. Well, the problem with components in Framer is that if I just draw a frame here and quickly turn it into a component, you can see that this main primary variant cannot have any transforms. It doesn't have the option here in the right panel. Only the layers within the variant can have these transforms. And so the problem is that if we just simply turn this main wrapper into a component, we will lose all those transforms that we had on the main wrapper. And you can see that the cars doesn't really look 3D because yeah, we don't have the perspective. So the way we are solving this is by simply turning this or wrapping this main wrapper in another frame by pressing Command and Enter. This will be the 3D component. We're gonna set the overflow to visible on the 3D component so we can actually see all the things around. So yeah, I think it's gonna be great. Now we can just turn the 3D component into a component because now it's just a frame, and we are good to go. Now we have the main wrapper within, which has these transforms, which is perfect. We wanted to keep them, and we have them here, so it's really nice. We still have this looping rotation. So now what we can do is we can create another variant here, and we can change the rotation of these arms, so we get something like this right here. You can see that it starts, I don't even know what I should call this effect, but we just changed the rotation of those arms. So let's create this second variant, and basically what's going to happen is that the arm 9 will be the first card here, and all the rest will rotate behind it. So first of all, I'm going to select arm 8, and I'm just going to rotate it like this. So now it is behind the arm 9. And now what I can do is I can just say that, okay, arm 9 has 240 degrees of rotation, arm 8 has 237. So now the difference is -3 degrees. So I can just copy this value here, go to arm 7 and say, okay, I'm going to paste this in, and then -3. Basically, that's what I have to do with all of these cards. So arm 6, I'm going to come here, paste in the previous value, and then -3. So now I'm going to do this for all the cards. Again, I'm going to speed up this part of the video. And so now the arm 1 is also rotated here, and now we have to go to arm 10. And here is a really important thing. This already has 270, which is bigger than arm 9, 240. And so if we just select the arm 1, copy this value, paste in it here, and -3, it's not going to be great because it's not going to do a full circle around. What it's going to do is it's just going to come like this. It's going to go back. But what we need is we need a full circle here. So as you can see, I'm turning this around. So here we're going to have a bigger value. It's going to be 573. So I can now copy this and go to arm 11 and paste in, and then -3. So make sure to don't miss this, because if you don't do this, it's your animation is gonna look a bit weird. So now we have variant 1, we have variant 2, which has these modifications, and you're gonna be quite amazed how easy it is to animate it. Because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just connect these two with an appear trigger. We can set like a 2-second or maybe even 1-second delay. So when variant 1 appears, we wait 1 second and then go to variant 2. As you can see, the animation happened and it looks really nice. We can of course adjust the transition, so we can have like an easing curve, we can have something like this, and it's gonna be much better. The time can be, I don't even know what time I had in the original design, so I'm gonna just take a quick look here. Variant 1 transition, and yeah, it's 1, so 1 second, it's gonna be 1 whole second. So if you take a look at this with an adjusted transition, it looks much nicer. So now what we can do is we can create more variants, and we can do any adjustment that we want, because Framer will smartly animate between these states, and it's gonna just look amazing. So let's create another variant, variant 3. As you can see, it automatically applies the appear effect from the primary variant, so we can just remove that, because we're gonna go from variant 3 to variant 4 in the future. And so variant 3, what happens here? Let's go back here and take a look at the finished animation. So basically the same effect, however now the black card or the dark card here at the beginning of this stack is going to go around. So let me just show you. It's going to go around like this, and it's going to be not this close, but a little bit further away from it, because what we need here is 30 degrees difference because now we're gonna have a full circle, so you have to make sure that the distances are a bit more. We can just calculate it from the arm 12. If we take a look at arm 12 here, it has 567, and what we need to do on the arm 1, or the arm 9, is that we can just do the calculation here. So now what we need again is we need to get all these arms to move behind the arm 9. So arm 8 is gonna also do a full circle. We can just use this value from arm 9, go to arm 8, and then paste it in, and then say minus 30. So it went there, it's pretty nice. Arm 7, and basically do the same with the rest. And again, we're gonna get to a point where we have to adjust this value. I'm gonna stop there, but I'm gonna speed up the video. Okay, so arm 1 is 297. If we go to arm 10, you can see that it is a higher value. So what we need to do is we need to rotate it like this and try to get the 30-degree distance from this, because we cannot calculate it in the same way we did before, because then it's gonna go the other way and it's not gonna be nice. So let's try to get that sort of distance. I think it's gonna be something like this. So I can now copy the value, go to arm 11, minus 30. So now we can go to variant 3 from variant 2 on appear after waiting 1 second. So now what happens? We go from variant 1 to variant 2 after waiting 1 second, and after another second we go to variant 3. Let's take a look at how this looks. It looks amazing, really good. So we have these animations now. It goes around again, and then as you can see, it grows, and then these cards flip. Now that's gonna be a bit more interesting. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create another variant, variant 4, and on this variant, variant 4, I'm not gonna let it just be variant. So variant 4, on this one, we're gonna select all these arms and make them bigger. So maybe something like this, 600. So basically that's it. That's the only change we do in variant 4. Then we do another variant, variant 5, and here we do the rotation. So basically we're gonna select all these cards, we're gonna open them. So let me just open up these layers here and collapse all of these so you can actually see what I'm doing. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make sure that each card is flipped around. So I'm gonna just adjust the Y rotation, and it's gonna have something like 140 or 30, I'm not exactly sure. So I'm gonna just take a look at what we have here on this one. So it's gonna be 150, so it's gonna be more. So here we are, so 150. I'm going to go through each card and I'm just going to paste in this value. So I'm going to speed this up. Okay, so now we have the cards flipped around. But if we take a look at this animation, so we connect these with appear, the 1, and also variant 3 to variant 4, you're going to see that we are not exactly getting the thing that we need. So it gets bigger, it's nice. But as you can see, each card flips around at the same time, which, you know, looks great. However, I think this effect here, which I have on this website, it looks a bit better because each animation is staggered because they start with a small delay. So how can we achieve that? Well, we can easily add transition properties to these cards. So I'm going to select the basically, I'm going to select all of the cards. So I'm just going to open these up again. So sorry. Select all of the cards and apply the transition So now we have this transition property on each of these cards. I'm going to select the 6th arm, and within that I'm going to select the card. And so this will be the first one to flip around, so it's not going to have any delay. It's going to have 0 delay. Then I'm going to select arm 5's card and arm 7's card, so the ones that are right next to arm 6. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set 0.05. So now we have this 0.05, and I'm going to select these two now, which are right next to these, what I just selected. And these are going to have 0.1. So it's going to be 0.05 bigger than the previous one. And I will do this for the rest of the cards. This will be 0.15. These are going to be 0.2. Then we're going to select this and this one here. We're going to add the delay, 25. And then the last one is going to have 0.3. So now what we can do is we can take a look at how this looks. So it grows, and then each of the cards flip around with a nice delay. So now what we can do is we can create another variant, variant 6, and on this variant, these cards will basically flip back. So again, I have to open up all these layers, select all of the cards, and set their 3D rotation back to 40 degrees on the y-axis. So all of the cards are selected, and we're going to have 40 degrees. And since we duplicated the variant 5, we have the transition, so we don't have to adjust those. It's going to stay like that. So I'm going to apply the appear effect or the appear interaction with a 1 second delay. And now, as you can see, it flips back and forth really nicely. So all we have to do now is we have to create another variant where these cards get a little bit smaller, or this whole circle gets a little bit smaller. So variant 7. And then I'm going to select all of the arms here. So arm 1 to arm 12. And we're going to set it back to 480. Let's add the last interaction as well. Appear, 1 second delay. And variant 7 is going to go back to variant 1 on appear, 1 second delay. Now we can actually come back here to the main desktop breakpoint, and we can publish this website. And as you can see, if we go to this website now, you'll see that it works perfectly. We have all the effects as we want to have them. And yeah, it looks really nice. So as you can see, this is how easy it is to add these 3D effects to your elements in Framer. And you know, this is just one example. You can do anything basically. Let's just take a look at another example that I just recently recreated from the Raycast website. Look at this. This is all Framer. It's not a 3D modeling software. It's not Blender, not Spline. It's all done in Framer, and it's interactive. So you can do really amazing things with Framer. So that's it for this video. Make sure to like it and subscribe for more. I'm going to have all the links in the description, so you can click around, remix these projects, and also go to framer.university because I have many more resources and lessons just like this, all for free, so you can learn no-code website building. So that's it. I'm going to see you in the next one.